is dog training hard? Like, people like, how long does it take to train a dog? Well, I will say it takes as long as it takes. Like, the saving grace for every owner would be trying to form their own habits that get the dog with less stress, more positive influence, I guess.
So how long does dog training take?
Well, it's taken me 25 years. Because, I mean, that's what's being trained. Because every dog I've ever gotten, or even been a part of in like seeing a litter, they all knew how to sit and lay down from the very beginning moments of their life. Even dogs with anxiety, you know that they can become calm because they sleep. What a dog doesn't understand is how to go to these places or to do certain behaviors at the times and places that we would ask for them. So if the dog already knows everything that it needs to know, but I don't know how to express to them, right, how to get, to get out of them what I want, then it's me that actually needs all the training. It's me that needs to be more, like, I'm introverted in my thought, meaning I'm thinking about what I'm doing more so than I'm worried about what the dog is doing.
So we're not training dogs necessarily then?
No, that's why good trainers are good, is because they've trained themselves. There's a part of it that's an art. There's a part of it that's an eye. There's a part of it that's your timing and being able to know the body language and patterns of a dog and via a person. And being able to actually break those patterns before they get too long term. And then that's where trainers of every varying degree do all sorts of different techniques. That's sometimes why it's probably hard for pet owners to find a way that works for them, because there's so many different angles. But I mean, how long does it take? I mean, I would say as a general rule, from a puppy to saying reliable, 2 years. Because you got to get through the emotional stages of everything in the, the world is big and I'm autonomous, I'm going to do what I want, and just like children, just like all of us, right? So to settle into it, that's where you're at, is you got to settle into that process and just be able to go, it's going to take this long, and I have a plan, and I have, and I have enough tools in my toolbox that if, as my dog is changing or gets input from the world that alters the way they're acting, and I need to steer it back or encourage something or take it away or whatever, I need to have enough tools to be able to change in and out of that, sometimes on a day-to-day moment, sometimes even moment-to-moment.
So you're dealing with many factors.
Well, yeah, as soon as you step outside of a controlled environment, you're now handed variables, meaning you can't predict things. You can try as best you can, but I mean, as soon as you're outside of a controlled environment, but it takes as long as it takes you to learn what you need to know to get out of your dog what you would like to see at all times you would like to see it. I've known people that had to, they had to become like a Zen Buddhist of dog training, where they had to live it, eat it, breathe it, absorb it, become it. And I've known other people, I'll learn what I need to learn to get through the bare minimum of what I need to get through, take away stress, right? Maybe the dog's just jumping up in the window, barking at the window.
I think some people tend to have a natural affinity to it. Some people have a natural ability to just have confidence, have,
Well, and sometimes you get confidence just through the act of gaining knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, and then really, knowledge is only so useful if it's kept in your head. You have to bring it to an application, right? You have to express it. You have to use it, right? Because, everything's muscle memory, so you have to practice a lot. You have to have, they say 10,000 hours to become a master of something. There's some people that could do that in 2,000 hours. There's some people that might take 30,000 hours. But there's nothing wrong with that. You're not racing anyone. You're not racing anyone or anything, and, there's lots of ways to fix dogs, and sometimes you can fix dogs really, really, really quick if you get out of your own way.
So it's more molding to the dog. Or...
Yeah, you have to see the world through the lens of the dog. Like, you have to see it through its eyes and not react on your own emotion all the time. You have to be self-controlled. You have to be, right? You have to be stoic. That's why, a dog's going to want to gravitate to somebody that looks like they got their crap together. That's just the way it is. We all do. Put somebody in a business and put them with a boss that looks like they don't know what's going on. The whole business erodes. Go watch Kitchen Nightmares, right? Gordon Ramsay goes in and fixes, all that dysfunction that's going on.
Yep.
There's no real leader. Every time he goes in, that's the problem. There's never a real leader. Nobody with direction.
Mm-hmm.
All of it's about yourself, whether we want to admit it or not. And we see dog training through its own lens, too, of the way we want to see it. And sometimes the way we want to see it and the dog we have go together. And then that works. But I've had a lot of clients where it's the way they see it and the personality of the dog and their love and stress languages do not coincide and work with them. They can love that dog because it's beautiful. And there's moments in their life where they're, they lay on the couch and share food and hang out in the house. But, I know a lot of people where dogs have, they keep very, closed lives, right? They got a yard, they get exercise, all that stuff. But they lead a very closed life because fundamentally the personalities of the dog and the person are really... They don't jive, and the dog cannot change. But the human, if it's viewing it through a lens or a filter of the way they want it to go, because they can't see it be done or go any other way, or making something very complex in order to get it done, that's where they're banging the heads all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But then it goes into why, at least why in my life, why this place, why I started System of a Dog. Because it is a system. It is a step. You take steps. It's progressions. Every person-dog combination household moves at their own rate. I've seen people that in 2 weeks can have the homework done and they are ready to go. They want more. And I've had other people where they've had me out many, many times to go over the same... It's their, it's their journey. It's the way they do it. But System of a Dog is about a progression, and it can go as far out as into when you're doing competitive sports, because it starts from foundation and it moves itself on up, and it even lends itself to using the way anyone really trains, because it just builds on it. It just builds on what they're already doing. And as long as they, the human can understand what's going on, and we're bringing information, and then put it into application, and then do repetitions, and then modify, depending upon the dog, modifying the way they handle or live with their dog for a while to get patterns set in place, then you can take the way we train or the way we view this, to as far as you want. That's where you go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Right? That's where, there's tons of trainers been doing it 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
Always down the rabbit hole. But, yeah, it's a step in a progression, and everybody's on their own journey. They're doing their own thing at their own pace, right? You got to have somebody, a trainer should have your back. A trainer should be giving you things to not make you feel bad about yourself, but encourage you. And the dog should be encouraged as well. But that doesn't mean the dog should just walk around and do things that would not be healthy, right? And the owner needs to understand their own power, right? And that's, at least for us, I think that's the biggest thing I try to do is just I give people exercises, right? I teach them, how to go from point A to point B to point B to point C in whatever facet they're trying to do. But they need to have confidence built into them. People like to be encouraged and have somebody you're doing great.
Mm-hmm.